today is the start of getting my E36 ready to sell. So the engine's out now. I have coilovers on the car I want to pull off, and my wheels I want to pull off and put. I have a full set of these 16s I'll throw on. I need to get started on that, and first things first is the rear end. So there's still an axle on the car. I want to get that off too, just so it doesn't smack around while the car is being pushed around. So I'll get that off, pull the rear springs out. Whatever shocks are on this car, I'm just going to leave them, and then swap the wheels. I also have a little bit of work to do the one hub mating surface on the passenger side, because getting the axle out on that side, I hit it a few times with the hammer and it's kind of out of shape, so I need to kind of round that back out, but let's get started. Well, that's all the effort I'm interested in giving that axle, so it's going to stay with the car, and that's for the next person to deal with. So next thing I need to do is just unbolt the shock, pop the spring out that's in there, and then put a stock spring back in and get a wheel thrown on this side. Now I kind of mangled up this hub same way I did the other side, so I might have to do a little flapper disc repair there. Exactly what I'm going to have to do on the other side as well, so get to it. Driver's side's all wrapped up. Regular stock springs back in, cleaned up the hub. That wheel bearing shot, but again, another reason why I don't feel like putting this car back together. So now I got to get this side done. This one's a little more messed up. This wheel, the Milli Miglias have, I think it's 74.1 hub bore for E39s, so it fits over right now without issue, but got to get that wheel off, swap the spring, and clean up that hub, get the other stock wheel thrown on, or the other 16-inch wheel thrown on. So here's what's going on with the hubs. So as you can see, I kind of fixed this one a little bit, but from trying to hit the axle out, and this one I got the axle free, it kind of just waffled the hub over a little. So like there's a lip down here at the bottom. I've just got to take the flapper disc, smooth it all out so I can get the wheel on. So what I'm taking off are these are FK springs with just a random, probably eBay E36 adjuster, and then this is just the stock spring. These aren't great or anything, but they're easy for me to throw on any E36 to get it low quickly. So like I said, I'm leaving these shocks on. I don't even know what they are. They're not Bilsteins, they just happen to be yellow. They might have came with the FKs, I don't know. But yeah, I'm just swapping the springs out and the wheels. I cleaned up this hub. Hopefully the wheel fits over now. Throw that stock 16 on. This side's pretty much buttoned back up. Well, that wraps up the rear. So I've got the spring swapped around, cleaned up the hubs on both sides, threw the stock 16s on, and that's the last time I should have to jack this thing up in the rear. Off the jack, off the wheels. So now moving on to the engine bay and the front suspension. I don't really have a ton to do. I just kind of need to get the reservoir and power steering pump held up out of the way, slave cylinder kind of draped over, and just kind of rearrange the engine harness so nothing's dragging the ground or anything when somebody comes to buy it, and just so things are a little more organized. So I'm going to get to that and then start these struts. Well, somehow I'm out of zip ties, so I'm resorting to using tape to hold some things up, like the fuel lines. And I got to keep everything away from the steering shaft too, so that when this thing gets turned and loaded, it doesn't break any of this loose. So I got to get a little creative here. Well, that wraps up the engine bay. Everything's out of the way, kind of taped up or strapped up. It's power steering pumps strapped to the subframe, and then the reservoir is not going anywhere. As you can see, it dumped a bunch of fluid out already, but we got the light harness tucked out of the way. So I'll be able to slap the front end back on this, the ride support, nose panel. I'm not putting headlights back in it, but that's whatever. And some sort of front bumper. Pretty sure I have the struts to swap on it inside. There we go. These things are huge compared to what's on there now. And here's the other one. The car on the ground now, probably really hard to see because it's dark, but that's it for this. Next time I get some time to work on it, I gotta throw the front clip back together and then clean out the inside, which most of the front clip is in the, or when I say front clip, the rad support, nose panel, things like that, they're all in the interior, so it shouldn't be hard for me to yank everything out of there, get that stuff bolted on, and then just kind of loosely clean up the inside, and then I'll get it listed for sale. But for now, just got to clean some things up, throw the hood back on for the night. Well, I spent a little more time working on it tonight and actually got the front clip kind of buttoned up and loosely on, so that piece is done. So next I just got to move on to the interior.